Back in the 1500s, before the US was even an independent country, the peach found its way from China through Europe, eventually to the United States. It was first planted in 1571, and because of the soil, the climate, the weather, the environment of Georgia, the fruit really tasted good in that part of the country. And during the Civil War, the soldiers were known to pick the peaches off the trees for its elite superior taste. And Georgia is now known as the Peach State. And our Jordan brand is taking some inspiration from the Georgia Peach and putting it on the Jordan 3. Air Jordan 3 Georgia Peach. The shoe is dropping on April 23rd for $200. It is a women's exclusive. The sizing goes from men's 3.5 to 10.5. So women's 5 to women's 12. Now Jordan 3s originally dropped in 1988 for a price of $100. That converted to 2024 money, it's a lot. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a lot. First impressions of the shoe. The Jordan 3 is very hard to mess up. Very hard to mess up. But we've seen quite a few lately, and again, like most of the ones we've seen recently, this one just doesn't get me super excited. I think it's a clean colorway, and this kind of color blocking, you can't really mess up a Jordan 3. It's a beautiful shoe. Beautiful canvas to work with. I actually do like that orange. I don't follow college basketball much, but that kind of reminds me of that Syracuse orange or like the New York Knicks orange. My team is the New York Knicks, so I do like that, but it doesn't have the blue, so not quite New York Knicks colorway. But one thing that sticks out like a sore thumb, I'm sure you can probably guess, give you a hint. That's the one thing I don't love. Apart from that, I think it's a pretty nice colorway, but again, nothing super exciting, but it's a Jordan 3, so that alone kind of raises the floor of the shoe. And the materials on the shoe, it is fully leather, and the leather is pretty good, it's pretty soft. It's not as like textured as some recent Jordan 3s where they really make the texture come out and come through, but it's decent leather. The ankle collar, not as good, but overall pretty general for a Jordan 3. And of course, the most distinct thing about the Jordan 3 is the elephant print. And recently, Jordan Brand has gone with that thinner type of elephant print that is closer to the OGs from 1988. And it just looks much cleaner. It's not as dark, not as deep, just doesn't look as messy. So much nicer. And the elephant print on this Georgia Peach, it's the same way. You can see very thin elephant print, just an absolutely beautiful look. And of course, you get the Jumpman on the tongue. This is the first Jordan shoe to use the Jumpman logo. And then moving on to the booty of the shoe, it is a Jumpman on the back, not Nike Air on the back. This isn't an OG colorway, so Jumpman it is. Sometimes you get special treatment, like Arma Manera gets that Nike Air. But generally the rules are, if you're not an OG colorway, you do not deserve Nike Air branding treatment. Now the Jordan 3s comes with a polyurethane midsole with a Nike Air unit both on the heel as well as the forefoot. The Jordan 3 was the first Jordan brand shoe to experiment with a visible air unit, and it started a trend until the Jordan 7s that didn't have a visible air unit came back on the 16s. And a polyurethane midsole, if you didn't know, slightly more responsive and more weight savings than like the rubber cup sole that you see on the Jordan 1s. And this shoe, for absolutely no reason again, they put sail on the midsole. And I don't know why. I just don't know why. You can maybe argue that this kind of color you can see on peaches, but I would bet with everything that I have, that wasn't what they're going for. They just stuck sail on this midsole just because they just do that for shoes now. I don't mind sail when it's done for a reason, but for this shoe, I just don't know why. I do not know why. I think it would have looked nicer with a white midsole. And of course, one of the best outsoles in the game, the Jordan 3 outsole, Jordan cutout over here, not Nike cutout, not Nike branding. Again, not an OG colorway, so it gets Jordan. And this concentric circle pattern is iconic by now, introduced by the Nike Air Force 1s. Just an absolute beautiful outsole. But again, would have preferred if they didn't have sail coming down to the outsole. And the insole of the shoe, it's not a dream style insole. It's definitely not like a polyurethane foam insole. It's actually glued in super tightly to my pair. But yeah, nothing great. Now the shoe doesn't come with any extra laces, just white laces. I'm glad they didn't give us with like pale vanilla sail yellow laces to try and match that midsole. Would have liked to see what like that orange peach color would have looked, but I think white laces, they work. And the box of the shoe, pretty standard Jordan 3 box. Elephant print, that orange peachy Jumpman in the middle. Now in terms of sizing and comfort, I do have wide flat feet. For Jordan 3s, I stick true to size. Jordan 3s, in my opinion, one of the more comfortable Jordan brand shoes from 1 to 14. The padding inside, very sufficient. Feels pretty light, even though technically it's heavier than a Jordan 4, but it just feels lighter because it's not as stiff, not as boxy feeling. The cushioning setup isn't like the greatest. It's still, for all intents and purposes, compared to like modern day shoes, still pretty flat to the ground, but I think if you wore this shoe like all day, your feet's not gonna like regret it. I think it is a very comfortable shoe. Now that brings the total sole score of the Air Jordan 3 Georgia Peach to 29 out of 40. Pretty average score compared to other general releases. Now first to this colorway. Like I said, it's very, very, very difficult to mess up a Jordan 3 in this type of color blocking. Just a predominantly white sneaker. The orange isn't like an ugly color. I actually kind of like orange in general. Sail just does not need to be there. I do not know why they had to stick that on there, but overall, even though I don't love the colorway of the shoe, I think it's decent. Now in terms of the materials of the shoe, it's very general as well for a Jordan 3. Just leather on the upper, and it's pretty nice leather. It is soft, it is nice to touch, and the nubuck on the elephant print, that is pretty standard as well. What I do really like is just how thin that elephant print comes. Doesn't come with big, like, dark and thick elephant print. They've really course corrected for Jordan 3s recently, so that's a really good change. Now in terms of the comfort of the Jordan 3, very comfortable. I think probably top 5 most comfortable Jordans from 1 to 14. There's just no complaints. The padding around the ankles, the tongue is well padded as well. Your feet just feels very nice and snug inside. There's a bit to be desired with the cushioning setup because it's a very old shoe, but for casual, just walking around here and there, very, very comfortable. Now in terms of the versatility of the shoe, the Jordan 3s are just one of the most wearable. You can wear it to pretty much any occasion. And in terms of the colorway, even though orange isn't like everyone's thing, I think it's still pretty subtle. It's different, but it's not like, what do you have on your feet different? So the combination of the Jordan 3 shape, as well as this pretty clean, predominantly white sneaker, I think it's a super versatile shoe. I said in my last Jordan 3 review video that I really hope that Jordan Brand doesn't milk the Jordan 3s like they did with the Jordan 1s and really oversaturate the market. And I look back and I think it's only the 3rd Jordan 3 to come out in 2024, but it just feels like way more. I think they went hard at the end of 2023, so that's why I thought there was way more in 2024. But like I said in the previous 2 Jordan 3 reviews that I gave in 2024, I think this colorway is nice. It's very hard to hate a Jordan 3. It's decent, but I just don't love it. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Air Jordan 3 Georgia Peach. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.